Hello and welcome to all. In the world of crime, one should not imagine that prisons are places of pleasure. On the contrary, it can be very risky to be a prisoner, especially in one of the hardest prisons in the world, which has become famous for its mistreatment and torture. What is certain is that every prisoner who enters the prison is not sure to leave without injury or even alive. In there, things happen that no one can imagine even in their wildest dreams. We recommend that you stay with us to discover the list of the 10 toughest prisons in the world that we have prepared, especially for you. Russian prisons are among the most severe in the world, but the Black Dolphin prison located near the border with Kazakhstan is the scariest of all. This terrifying prison is controlled by a high security system. It is designed to house the most dangerous and brutal criminals. The prison acquired its famous and unofficial name from a statue of the Black Dolphin erected in front of its entrance, which is built by the prisoners themselves. The prison houses about 700 prisoners who are diverse between pedophiles, murderers, terrorists, and even cannibals. Among them, an inmate named Nikolayov, who killed one of his victims during a drunken fight. He then dragged her into the toilet of his house where he cut her up and ate part of her body. He then sent the rest to one of his friends, and his wife cooked this human flesh and served it to the family. Together, the prisoners committed nearly 3,500 murders, an average of 5 murders per prisoner. And once they are in at that prison, they can never get out. According to one lieutenant, the only way to escape this prison is to die. Each cell is 4 square meters and holds 2 prisoners. To reach a cell, you have to pass through 3 iron doors. The guards carry out an inspection every 15 minutes, and when the prisoner leaves the cell, he is forced to walk bent over, which is a special procedure for the prison of the Black Dolphin. When they are escorted out of the prison building, the prisoners are blindfolded so they do not know the design of the prison. Inside this prison, there is no public yard and no cafeteria either. The prisoners eat in their cells and are only served soup and bread. It is important to note that no one has ever been able to escape the Black Dolphin prison. The Piatak Island prison in Russia, located on an island in the middle of a Russian White Lake halfway between Moscow and the Arctic Circle, is one of the most brutal and isolated prisons in the world. It is a former church built in the 16th century that has been transformed into a prison. As for the security of the prison, it is impossible to escape from it, as you can only access the prison by boat or by an old bridge that contains hundreds of guards of the elite forces to guard the prison. This is a prison where the prison experience is similar to life in hell, as each inmate is imprisoned in a narrow, heavily guarded cell for 22.5 hours a day. And then the prisoners are transferred outside the cells to cages fenced with barbed wire for an hour and a half. This causes them psychological and mental illness. Sometimes the prisoners hurt themselves by swallowing door handles, nails, and spoons in order to relieve themselves in the prison wards of the hospital. This prison contains no toilets or means of personal hygiene, and visits are only allowed twice a year. A former doctor who worked in this prison says that all the prisoners suffer great mental problems because of the harsh treatment and brutal conditions in the prison. Quang Central Prison is located in the province of Nonthaburi in Thailand, about 11 kilometers north of Bangkok. This prison holds many foreign prisoners as well as death row inmates. It is considered one of the most violent prisons in the world due to the fact that the prison figuratively eats people alive. It is known for its violence and harsh conditions of detention. It was built to house the worst offenders who are sentenced to either life imprisonment or the death penalty. Opened in 1931, it was originally designed to house 4,000 people, but so far the prison is almost twice as full, now housing over 7,500 people, and prisoners stay in their cells for more than 14 hours. Every new convict is shackled with leg irons for his first 3 months and does not even get rid of them when he sleeps. There are even some prisoners sentenced to life imprisonment who remain shackled even after the 3 months due to government decision. The prisoner is allowed only 1 meal a day, which consists of rice and vegetable soup. And the meals served there are often infested with maggots, and drinking water is an absolute luxury, except for the richest who can eat more thanks to their agent. This encourages them to make the poor their servants in exchange for more food. The central prison of Gitarama, located in Rwanda, is without question one of the worst and most neglected prisons in the world. With a capacity of 500 prisoners, this prison houses over 7,000 people crammed inside. Prisoners are forced to stand for hours in the yard, in harsh and dirty conditions. Men turn into monsters in Gitarama prison, and the fighting often ends in bloody wounds that can result in dozens of deaths each day. This is a very neglected environment that is also responsible for the deteriorating health of the prisoners and the increasing number of deaths. Some even report that prisoners eat each other's flesh out of hunger. Many prisoners describe this prison as hell on earth. Gildani Prison is a prison located in Tbilisi, Georgia. It was built in the 1980s and was first used to house political prisoners during the Soviet era. In recent years, it has gained a bad reputation and has turned into one of the worst prisons in the world due to gross human rights violations inside the prison and the spread of prisoner abuse, including torture and rape. It is also known for its horrific sex scandals where prisoners are raped by guards. Gildani Prison was the scene of a major scandal in 2012 when footage was leaked to the media showing guards physically and verbally abusing prisoners. Mendoza Prison in Argentina is a prison known for its cruel, inhumane, and degrading conditions. It has a population of more than 3 times its capacity and houses up to 5 prisoners in cells of only 4 square meters. Prisoners are forced to use plastic bags and bottles due to the lack of adequate sanitation in the facility. This prison has seen numerous demonstrations to protest the mistreatment and harsh conditions as well as the hygiene conditions. It houses prisoners who are so dangerous that guards protect themselves by placing meals in designated areas away from the prisoners. Among the prisoners, there are even those who have not yet been tried and convicted. And with the violent conditions in the prison, they come out worse than when they entered. Diyarbakir Prison in Turkey became a detention center for the rebels of the military coup in 1980. In this prison, the prisoners were subjected to all kinds of suffering and the new prisoners were brutally beaten and then forced to stay in a barrel containing human excrement. The prison is one of the most barbaric and sadistic prisons in the world. There are high rates of persistent torture and physical abuse of prisoners. The prison is also known for the highest number of human rights violations in the world. Even children are reportedly imprisoned there for life. Individuals have been known to set themselves on fire, go on hunger strikes for weeks at a time, and some inmates have even committed suicide to escape such brutal assaults. Camp 22, also known as Horyang Concentration Camp, is located in one of the most inaccessible places in the world, surrounded by high mountains and valleys. The prison is located near the borders of China and Russia, where it is impossible to escape and prisoners are held there for life and hard labor, as North Korea is famous for its strict prison laws. The prison can even sometimes hold prisoners with their families, and in some cases they are imprisoned for life. There are nearly 50,000 prisoners in the prison, and every year about 1,000 to 2,000 inmates die as a result of mistreatment, and between 1,000 and 2,000 are new inmates. This keeps the total number of prisoners at a constant level. In this prison, there are reports of extreme brutality, torture, and executions. About 30% of the inmates in this camp have deformities such as a torn face, broken eye, facial scars, ears, and other signs of torture. Kamiti Prison in Nairobi is considered by many to be the most dangerous prison in the world. The prison is overcrowded, chaotic, and infested with disease. The prison was originally built to hold 1,400 inmates. It now holds over 3,600 prisoners and is one of the prisons known for its poor conditions and inhumane treatment. In this prison, there is no running water, which means that prisoners must fetch water from a well to drink and wash. The lack of water encourages the spread of diseases such as tuberculosis, which spreads rapidly without any medical intervention from the guard staff. Some of the inmates work in industry and are paid only a few Kenyan shillings a day under an outdated 1940 law. The worst part of Kamiti is Sector G, home to the prisoners on death row who form rape gangs. Each room contains 4 beds shared by 14 men. Many former prisoners have reported being sexually abused within hours of their incarceration. Ciudad Barrios Prison is the most dangerous prison in El Salvador. It is ranked first in the world for the number of murders in recent years. The tattoos, which cover the face and body of the inmates of this prison, tell of the crimes they have committed and of which they are proud. They are drug dealers, arms dealers, and murderers under the banner of the Mara Savartuja gang and its rival, the El Barrio 18 gang. Both are so feared in El Salvador that even the guards are afraid to enter the prison and let the gangs run it by themselves. In this prison, the gangs have made the prison their headquarters. None of the police force can enter the prison. The presence of the guards is limited to stay outside only, and all internal problems of the prison are solved by the gang members, not by the police force. With 2,500 residents inside against a capacity of 800, finding a place to sleep within the walls of this hellish hive can cost the life of anyone who challenges it. Many prisoners live in cells so small that they have to make hammocks out of clothes to sleep on top of each other.